everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Book Reviews with Zen Garcia and myself, Joy Garcia. Today we're actually going to go over a book that we haven't, or Zen hasn't even talked about in quite a long time, Awaken to the New World Order. And then I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Well, I'll start with a quote first from Thomas Jefferson. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their money, first by inflation and then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of their property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. And those of you that know about the New World Order know that the Federal Reserve System implemented in 1913, that it was what usurped Congress's ability to coin and regulate money and currency here in the United States. And that since that time, they have engineered, with the wealth they've gained on taking over the central bank here in America, controlled opposition to utilize to fund both sides of opposing wars. And since that time, we've had World War I, World War II, and also what became the pretext for creating world government through first the League of Nations and then the United Nations. And now, since the creation of the United Nations, the Albert Pike with his vision and the elites with the help of the mafia, they have utilized the pretext of placing the Zionists and Christians against the Muslims to not only create Israel, but also to divide the world amongst those political and religious differences. And that what they have planned is that these two factions of humanity war against one another and kill and massacre each other until there is a vacuum. And then the communists, the atheists, can come in, step forward to fill that vacuum, and then lead us into what is a New World Order police state tyranny, where the Antichrist is revealed to take over this beast system, as mentioned and specified in the book of Daniel. And so the whole thing of the central banks, because this same modus of operandi has been used all over the world, and that they use the establishment of central banks and stock exchanges and things of that nature, now the International Monetary Fund and these different organizations, the World Trade Organization, all of that to control countries and the world. And so since that time, they've been leading us in agenda to what is laid out in the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. And so this book, which I rarely speak about, Awaken to the New World Order, it was written in 2010. It's my fifth book. I wrote it immediately after Lucifer, Father of Cain. And it was easy for me to do so because at that time I was writing for what was called the Populist Party of America. It was a huge online alternative truth platform, and there were many authors from a wide array of perspective, even individuals that were presidential candidates from independents and Green parties wrote for this particular platform. And so there was a huge following. And I was one of the ones that wrote articles to help people to wake up to what was going on with the New World Order. And at that time, and so a lot of my work was controversial, but I had written enough and published enough articles on that platform before it was shut down to create this book. And so this particular book is a listing of all the articles that I wrote dating back to the time when I first awoke, 2004 to 2010, on what the New World Order was and how it was being implemented in our lives during what was the regimes of Bush and Obama. And it also includes, for those that don't know, may be familiar with the work of David Dees, who is a political graphic artist, designer who does incredible work. And so it has a lot of his artwork also in this particular volume at every chapter and every different particular title. And so this book, I believe, will help you to understand the details of how it was that even with the Patriot Act and with the loss of habeas corpus, how they can now label us as domestic terrorists and that we don't have habeas corpus rights, right to speedy trial, right to be represented by a lawyer, the right to even not speak and incriminate ourselves, that these kind of things have been stripped away with the inclusion of a military tribunal system. And so the Patriot Act targets Christians and patriots. That's who the enemy of the New World Order is. And so it's really important for you to understand how the system came to be what it is now, as well as where we are going into the future. Because those of you that are concerned with the COVID and the forced vaccinations, martial law, all of these things date back to, before even George Bush, dating back to his father, H.W., who declared in his State of the Union speech in 2001, or even further back than that, how they had an opportunity to create a new world order. And since that time, all of the presidents since have spoken about and talked about the need to create this new world order. And so this book will help you to understand what that is and how it is applicable to our lives and to what is the coming police state tyranny, which we are already clearly in.
That's so wild. I didn't know that that's what this book was about. That's really cool that you were writing back then for such a large audience that had, and the fact that even back then there were so many people that are awoken to this, that there was a community seeking out truth. That's really cool. But anyways, if you are interested in getting the Awaken to the New World Order, the rest of this month, which is June 2020, we are doing 25% off. You can use the promo code, all caps, NWO25, NWO25. So feel free to get it. We thank you so much for your support in your life. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at sacredwordpublishingllc@gmail.com. And please don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, which you can do at sacredwordpublishing.com. At the very bottom of the page, if you scroll down, you will have an option to sign up for our newsletter. So we thank you so much, everyone. Shalom.
Shalom. Good night, all.
Be safe.